When we think of giants in the Bible, it's impossible not to recall Goliath, the towering warrior who challenged the Israelite army and was brought down by the young David. However, what many don't realize is that Goliath wasn't alone. He had 5 brothers, giants, each with colossal strength and an unyielding spirit. Together they formed a powerful and terrifying lineage, legendary warriors who spread fear wherever they went. Who were these 5 brothers of Goliath? What mysteries and legends surround their stories and the impact they had on Israel? These giants weren't just imposing figures on the battlefield. They represented a far greater challenge to the Israelites, one of fear that paralyzed and doubt that threatened their faith. Picture the scene. 5 giant warriors, each more intimidating than the next, ready to defend their territory and eliminate anyone who crossed their path. They were seen as invincible, protected by the fame their brother Goliath had built. But would anyone have the courage to face them, as David did with Goliath? In this video, you'll discover who these 5 giants were, why they were so feared, and how their stories still offer valuable lessons on courage and faith. Get ready to dive into an ancient mystery that reveals the darker and more challenging side of the battles faced by Israel. Stay with us as we uncover how these giants who terrorized Israel were confronted one by one, and how their story continues to inspire those who must face their own giants. The story of giants in the Bible has always fascinated and terrified in equal measure. These enormous beings with superhuman strength lived in the legends and fears of the people of Israel. Goliath is the most remembered name, the giant brought down by David with a simple stone and unwavering faith. But Goliath wasn't alone. He was part of a lineage of giants known as the Sons of Rapha, a legendary family descended from ancient powerful warriors known for their size and cruelty. Goliath had 5 brothers, giants like him, each with an imposing presence and a reputation that spread fear among their enemies. These brothers of Goliath were also Philistine warriors, trained for battle from a young age, and prepared to defend their land and traditions at any cost. Their names and deeds, preserved in some ancient texts, reveal warriors who wielded unique weapons and maintained distinct characteristics. It's believed one of them, named Isbi-Benobe, wielded a spear so heavy that few men could even lift it. Another, called Saf, had a presence that commanded both respect and fear, while a third, with 6 fingers on each hand and foot, represented not only extraordinary strength but also an eerie and almost mystical anomaly. These giants weren't merely soldiers. They were symbols of power and resistance among the Philistines. They were the remnants of an ancient era when raw strength was seen as a divine gift, and anyone who dared face them knew they were up against an almost unbeatable adversary. Each of Goliath's brothers carried the hopes of the Philistines and the intention to protect the honor of their people. And for the Israelites, these giants were more than just physical enemies. They were obstacles that challenged their faith and courage. Who, other than David, would have the audacity to face such a legendary and feared lineage of warriors? In this video, we'll explore how the people of Israel confronted these giants, uncovering the lessons and inspiration this legendary lineage left behind. For the people of Israel, the sight of these giants, the brothers of Goliath, was pure terror. Each one, with their imposing presence and unique abilities, represented a threat that seemed impossible to overcome. Isbi-Benobe, for example, wasn't just a giant in stature but a warrior with brutal skills. His spear was so heavy that few men could hold it, and he wielded it with ease, impressing even his enemies. The mere mention of his name caused many Israelite warriors to hesitate. He carried with him a thirst for vengeance after Goliath's defeat, seeking any opportunity to face the Israelites and erase the shame of his fallen brother. Another giant, Saf, had such a menacing presence that his mere approach could strike fear into the hearts of his adversaries. He was known for showing no mercy in battle, making him an even more dreaded opponent. His armor was reinforced and covered almost his entire body, turning him into a living wall as he advanced on his enemies. For the Israelites, facing Saf felt like a certain death sentence, and perhaps the most peculiar of them all, the giant with 6 fingers on each hand and foot. He was seen not just as a physical adversary, but as a symbol of anomaly and mysticism, something that the Israelites could hardly comprehend. His strange appearance made him seem almost mythical, and many believed he possessed powers beyond the ordinary, a strength that came from his unusual form. With each of these brothers spreading fear and uncertainty, the people of Israel found themselves facing a threat that went beyond the physical. It was a battle against paralyzing fear, against the belief that these giants were invincible, untouchable, and that no one could ever face them and survive. These giants were more than just warriors. They represented the brutal strength and cruelty that the Philistines used to intimidate and dominate, forcing the Israelites to question their own strength and the faith that moved them. But at the same time, they were also proof that fear could be the greatest enemy of all. Each giant, with their lethal skills, reminded the Israelites of how small a person could feel in the face of such a colossal threat, and how often our greatest giants are the doubts and fears we carry. But would the people of Israel find the courage to face them? That was the great dilemma, a dilemma that would test not only their physical strength but also the depth of their faith. And then, in the midst of this atmosphere of fear and despair, David emerges, a young shepherd seemingly unprepared for the battles that lay ahead for Israel. Someone who, in the eyes of men, would never have the strength to face even one warrior, let alone a giant. But David carried something the others couldn't see, an unwavering faith in God and a courage that defied all human logic. When Goliath, the most feared giant of the Philistines, stood before the Israelite army, no one dared confront him. Everyone saw him as invincible. But David saw something different. He knew that this giant, no matter how powerful he seemed, was no match for the divine strength that accompanied him. The encounter between David and Goliath was brief, but unforgettable. With nothing more than a simple sling and a stone, David demonstrated to the people of Israel that true strength doesn't lie in size or weapons, but in courage and faith. This moment changed not only David's life, but also the destiny of Israel. It was as if, with Goliath's fall, the chains of fear that had bound the hearts of the Israelites were shattered. For the first time, the people saw that giants were not invincible, and that the strength of the Philistines was not absolute. David didn't just defeat Goliath, he reignited the flame of hope in the hearts of his people. His victory proved that every giant still terrorizing Israel could be overcome. His bold faith became a call for everyone to stop seeing obstacles with fear and to start facing them with confidence. David showed that, with faith, the size of the challenge doesn't matter. His act of bravery helped the Israelites discover strengths they didn't even know they had, inspiring other warriors to confront the brothers of Goliath. David's courage was the spark that ignited everything. He turned fear into strength and doubt into certainty. Through this, he paved the way for a new future where the people of Israel no longer saw themselves as victims of circumstance, but as a nation guided by faith and protected by something far greater than any giant. David's victory over Goliath was the turning point that Israel needed to awaken its own courage. Inspired by this young shepherd who, with unwavering faith, brought down the most feared giant, the warriors of Israel now believed they could face the other giants still threatening their land. Each of Goliath's brothers, once seen as symbols of invincible strength, was now an obstacle that could be overcome. The fear that once paralyzed the people was replaced by a determination strengthened by faith and the memory of what David had achieved. The first to fall was Isbi-Benobi, the giant with the heavy spear, whose thirst for vengeance for his fallen brother made him relentless. But he was defeated by Abishai, one of David's trusted warriors. With courage and skill, Abishai showed that, like David, he feared not the strength of these giants. This victory wasn't just physical, it was a spiritual triumph for the entire Israeli army, proving that the impossible could be conquered. Next came Saif, another brother of Goliath, whose imposing appearance and heavy armor intimidated anyone who dared challenge him. But the people of Israel, inspired by David's example, did not retreat. Another Israeli warrior faced Saif with unwavering determination, and on the battlefield the giant fell. Saif's defeat was a heavy blow to the Philistines, who watched as their mightiest warriors were brought down one by a people who found their strength in faith. Finally, there remained the last and most peculiar of the brothers, the giant with 6 fingers on each hand and foot, a symbol of almost mystical power. His bizarre appearance was seen as a manifestation of supernatural abilities, yet even this giant was defeated. With each battle, each fall, Israel's victory echoed louder, showing that the faith of the people could not be broken. The giants, one by one, were defeated. These victories meant much more than simply winning battles. They marked the end of an era of fear and the beginning of a new chapter filled with hope and courage. Goliath's brothers, once thought to be invincible, had become living proof that for those who believe, no giant is too great. And so the people of Israel were freed from the threats that had paralyzed them, ready to move forward, guided by trust in a power far greater than any adversity they might face. The story of Goliath's giant brothers reveals more than just ancient battles between Israel and the Philistines. It teaches us about the nature of challenges and threats we face, both in the past and today. These giants represented seemingly insurmountable obstacles, forces that appeared destined to triumph and destroy all hope. But the courage of David, a young shepherd moved by faith, proved that even the most feared enemies can be defeated when we have a greater purpose and unwavering trust. Just like Israel, each of us faces our own giants. These giants may be fears, doubts, insecurities, or life's difficulties that make us feel we're not strong enough. But the downfall of Goliath's brothers reminds us that no obstacle is too big to overcome. We may feel small, unprepared, just as David seemed before Goliath. But the truth is, with faith, any battle is winnable. May this story inspire you not to give up in the face of challenges. Believe that, like the people of Israel, you too can discover strengths you never knew you had. The giants may seem enormous, but remember, courage and faith have a transformative power. Let each challenge be seen as an opportunity to strengthen your confidence, knowing that you're not alone. Just like David and the people of Israel, you too can face your giants and overcome them. After all, it's not the size of the obstacle that defines the outcome, but the strength of our faith and the certainty that we can prevail. And for those interested in biblical curiosities and wisdom, we invite you to watch one of our most impactful videos. See the letter that Caiaphas wrote on his deathbed, breaking the silence and acknowledging who Jesus truly was. You'll be deeply moved. Click to watch. Once again, thank you for your attention, and may you remain under God's grace. Until next time.